This matchup actually happens a lot in the midweek musters, folks. It's just a strong pick on both sides. It's nicely rounded, applies well into most matchups. And I'd say like Sushi should have a slight edge, is what you'd think, but you'd be surprised. Depending on the map, China can be a lot better due to the safety on tax generation. But yeah, Chinese versus Sushi for G2. Of course, that game one was kind of crazy from Wham. Love what he was able to do in receding, but this time we're going to be on Coastal Cliffs. Coastal Cliff's a little bit of a tighter map. There's an argument that the Civ that moves away from Cavalry sooner might be favored here. Pro Scout seems like an expected, but the interesting thing about China that can make them a bit better on this map is sometimes you get a glorious spawn. He didn't this time, but sometimes you'll get double boar close enough together that you can pull them underneath a Barbican. And the importance of that is it means you don't have to worry about Pro Scouts, right? But in this situation, they're a little bit too wide. Deer points are pretty well balanced. One thing I actually love about Coastal is I want to say you don't see like hyper late game too often. When you do, they're freaking epic. But like part of the reason I don't think you see hyper late game too often is that people can't really exploit the 2TC, 3TC malarkey. The stone is always so far away, right? So instead, you're kind of pushed towards doing something, being present on the map, earning a greedy play. I do wonder if Avali would ever just make a version of this where like some of these relics were in ruins. Because that would be interesting. The reason is just right now, like I think Coastal Cliffs quite often becomes Pro Scouts maybe, but then you go Castle to rush the relics. Because they're all so tightly spawned together, like you feel obligated to rush towards them. Medigarden coming in the center. You know what? I want to see people coming in on that click that just went there. Boom. It is in chat. AMD. Click it. Check them out. They've come out to sponsor us again to talk about the Ryzen. Honestly, like, I don't know why anyone want anything but a 9800X 3D at this stage. The only issue might be actually getting your hands on some stock. Because I feel like those things are constantly selling out. And no Gamba needed on this one. So the Medigarden is definitely curious, but Mahodo did kind of find the jackpot, right? He didn't quite get all the food, but he got 25 gold, 25 stone, probably about 30 wood. And then I believe he got 42 food. This is a pretty good meditation garden. One of the things that makes me kind of roll my eyes a bit about Sushi getting picked here is like you don't often get this type of Medigarden. I remember in the very early days of Coastal Cliffs, I think the guy who was like infamous for it on the top of my head, it seemed like Lash really believed in Medigarden, like in Sushi being good in this map. And it's because one of the first comp games we watched of him, he got like an absurd meditation garden. Then every time you see it get picked afterwards, they'd be underwhelming. You just see them settle for like a 60 to 70 resource Medigarden. And of course, that was back when you couldn't burn this down because burning it down would double it when it got repaired. Now you can actually harass it, and you just slapped it right in the middle of the map. Interesting. Hodo's going to hang around. So, Pro Scout seems inevitable here. We already had the gold being accrued. Timing pretty much mirrored here, actually. Yeah. Wham is missing the stables, but he can definitely afford it. And wait, did he... Oh, no. Yeah, good eyes. He didn't get the gold. Okay, so this is not a very good meditation garden anymore. Yeah, that hurts. I mean, it's decent, but it's not like crazily good, especially for the fact you just walked out into the middle of the map without wheelbarrow. That hurts, man. So yeah, it's going to end up being, what is that, 101 resources? Still decent. Yeah, that's rough. Like, you can see actually, like, this is the weird thing I've noticed is, like, when it comes to the boxes, he should technically have covered that, as you can see by the overlap. But you need to essentially be, like, here. It's almost like 0.3 or 0.4 Vital in. So, Pro Scouts race underway. Alright, hear me out, guys. Here's what everyone's doing wrong with Pro Scout Wars. Where's the Dully horse? No. I'm not going to finish that statement. The moment someone heard Dully horses coming in their headset, they're like, wait a second, KP. I mean, guys, think about it. Usually it takes 2 seconds to attack. You could be down to 1.6 seconds to attack. That's quicker than a horseman. Okay, I'm going to stop now. We do actually sometimes see Dally horses in this matchup because Shushi liked to open with like 1 or 2 horsemen as well to block pro scouts. It wouldn't have been a bad idea here because China's gone up to 8 scouts compared to your 6. But it seems Wham's even already paranoid about it and does have spears on the way. So probably a good thing that Mahodo didn't get baited into it. A little bit surprised he didn't go for more scouts himself though. Yeah, and now he started producing. Is this a realization moment? Possibly. It just feels a little bit weird because Mahodo was floating 200 food. He could have afforded to just keep pumping scouts long before this point. And that, by the way, is always an important thing when you're playing pro scouts. Once you have the first few coming back, always check for a manual drop-off. If you're low on food, you're actually probably high on food. It just hasn't been deposited yet because of how much food your people hold. So yeah, I think Mahodo just done it there. Unfortunately on the rallying as he walks around in circles. But just guarantees he's got more than enough food. Probably not necessary at this stage, considering just how much he's got in reserve. We do have a second stables coming in. Why? You've seen Spearman now. I guess he hadn't scouted it earlier. I mean, that is the classic negative of playing pro scouts. You ironically don't scout. And he wants to avoid going cheap. Because I think he knows that just a few spears here is not going to ruin Wham's tech timing. Because he can easily afford it and justify it because of the better taxation. Like, look at the difference here. It's 3 to 4 Imperial officials. Wham could easily be 4 if he wanted to. It's just there's like no real reason to. He's primarily food gold for a tech up. And then the third one plays taxation. How is Mahodo losing this race now? It's actually kind of crazy. I guess maybe we just caught him, like we were saying earlier, at the point where he hasn't dropped off, but it looks like Wham is going to start teching first, which is crazy when you consider that Shushi... There we go. I was about to say they should be teching fast because they get a 15% discount on the age up. So we'll beam to the punchline, but barely by anything. And Imperial Palace has been quite popular in this matchup. But on this map, Clock Tower like makes more sense. Because the map is thinner, you can play into Clock Tower Nest of Bees in the mid game in a way that you might not on open maps. If you're playing something like Carmel, maybe even Dry Arabia, that's maps where I think Imperial Palace has been taking over because the vision is worth it to stop raids. But here, you know, the trade-off doesn't make sense. You could just wall this backside and then wall down here, and then your opponent can't really raid you anyway. So you kind of achieve the same thing that Imperial Palace would without being deprived of the siege option. And this also means that Shushi will not want to play a Nest of Bees off against you. It's just a disadvantageous thing. Dali horses straight away from Mahodo. This is very early. Normally feels good once you have, like, say, about 8 Lancers. We're nowhere near that. And if the idea was to win with your scouts, it's not going to work if they go in 1 by 1. Yeah, the Lemmings effect may be a bit too strong there. So almost all deer have been hoovered. I think there's one hidden somewhere around here. The rest have been taken. But the scouts still are important. That's now going to be body blockers in the Lancer Flash. A little bit wasteful by Wham to just stand here like this, by the way. Veteran Super Spears. So Mahodo obviously going to be rushing relics off the back of the Shaolin Monks. Can use this to his advantage, should then use them as a front line against Spears, but it is going to be Lancers as well. Normally in this matchup with Shushi, we see them go for Mountain Academy these days, because then you're able to solely focus on getting the Lancer advantage to then win playing for relics. And the other thing is, because this matchup almost always turns into a 50-50 Pro Scout split, that means that with the taxation generating food as well, you have a little bit more runway on food before you have to switch than China. It's a very important detail. The difference can be like 4 or 5 extra Lancers in a matchup where Shushi should usually win on Lancer count already. There's so many things around that. It's all just scouts. But it's turning into Lancers more and more now. Man, this is very greedy from Wham, though. Going Trip Monk this early with just 2 Lancers. Well, on north side. Uh-oh. Oof. line formation just in time there. Nicely micro by Wham. Now remember, these are vet spears, so not the easiest of fights for Lancers. But with the Dahlia horses and a little bit of micro, it's an easy cleanup. Yeah, so great beginning there. Mahodo, he has got multiple relics on the way home. He already garrisoned one. Second one coming in, third to be grabbed. Lancers are going to be camping on that one. So Wham should be able to play Denial. And Wham, now with 2 relics on the way home himself. It almost feels like Mahodo's Lancers are just in the wrong place entirely. It's kind of crazy that with this much heavy cav difference, Wham has the potential to secure 3. It's likely going to be 2 here because there's only 1 left to contest now. Like usually the play feels like you go for the more aggressively aligned one, but I think Wham was trying to respect the fact that Mahodo had heavy cav lead. And we are getting Nesta Bees. The toxic comp begins. Every time I see this comp, I sigh. It's a little bit different, though, with the Lancers as well. I think Wham is just reacting to the expected transition that because he's building spears like this, Mahodo is going to want to build rapier crossbows. All crossbows. And by doing this, he'll have the counterplay. All right, 1's if you think Wham's going to win this, 2's if you think Mahodo's going to take it. Because he is taking the bait. Please tell me it's crossbows. Please tell me it's crossbows. Barbican drop also coming in. Ooh. Okay, a bit ambitious, but the timing... No. The timing's perfect. That's unbelievable. Mahodo, if he hung around just like a few seconds longer, there's a dive to be had there. I mean, his Lancers are mostly full. There's a few that were injured. There wasn't that many spears, but now Barbican going up. That means it's going to be a boar secure. It's another 2.2k food. All of a sudden, it's looking worrisome for Mahodo. Like, he's going to run out of resources first. He also does take the bait. The Chuganu now being produced after the Nesta Bees start to appear from Wham. Now, this would probably be a lot cleaner using a Lancer, but anyway. Do we have a taxman coming? No, so he's not getting the extra food, which is a little bit of a negative here. Efficiency on the way for the Chug, though. The problem with, like, Mahodo's timing here is that he's sacrificing his mobility to get diversity. Now, sometimes that makes a lot of sense. You're always going to reach a stage, mostly going to reach a stage where you need to transition. Sometimes you don't, like French with only knights. But the problem here is, like, your transition's already getting counted. So your biggest advantage against what Wham is meant to be doing here is, like, you can kind of outmaneuver him, play away from the siege, raid. Now that you're going into your Chug, you're becoming less dynamic. It's in a weird way enabling the Nesta Bees. Both players just trying to get in on that economy. So far, going to get blocked out, but Wham got some key information here. So he sees the Chug. Other side, I don't really feel like Mahodo scouted much there with that dive. Second Nesta Bees is still on the way, so Mahodo, once he gets up to 3, these Chuganu are going to feel pretty irrelevant. He has at least got the bolt magazines coming in to counter the Spearman quicker. But the problem is, like, you're talking about a very slow-moving range unit against Nesta Bees. It's difficult to dodge, especially in the beginnings of these fights. Another thing that's kind of scary is usually these kind of tree lines can catch you off guard, I've found, on Coastal Cliff. Because they're positioning quite often, the Nesta Bees can just ambush shot you if you don't choose the open battlefield. Mahodo, well, he still does have the boar to the south side. But it's such open territory. Wham, does he know? No, he's going all the way to the back of the gold. So Mahodo will at least be able to dodge death there. I mean, this has to be go time, right? 23 Lancers to 13. The Spearman's definitely a problem, though. And he's going to start diving into the Barbican. Sugar catching up. The Nesta Bees are being wheeled and dealed out, though. And this triple Nesta Bees now. This is the critical mass we were talking about. And he does reveal on one of the Lancers. So Mahodo, a little bit hesitant at first, but he's going to start committing in. Dodges most of the flurry. Problem is, killing a Barbican is so damn difficult. Does get a double kill on the workers due to Wham's greed. Lancers are going to look to return far in the back, though, and do find 1 or 2 worker kills. I think the problem here is, like, you've got Mass Chug, and it feels like there's just still so many heavy cav units from Wham. Almost makes you wish, like, you were, like, 50-50 between Chug and crossbows. Oh, look at that. YouTube and Twitch becoming friends. Before they inevitably start yelling things at each other. There's a certain someone that usually makes it about smell that isn't here today. What's going up? But Lancers. Well, this is a classic. Am I trapped in here with you? Or are you trapped in here with me? Oh, God. It's even worse than that. He didn't even complete the wall. Lancers at least coming in, but great reactions out of Wham. Doesn't lose them. Just basically is idling the entire army. And while that happens, he's now going to start moving in from the south side. Medigun to be burned. Berry Gatherer is potentially to be found here. The ball was also already found. Oh my God. Wham has just unraveled him with that one move. So full map control conceded. He ends up hemorrhaging workers. And remember, guys, this is Song Dynasty for Wham. So the eco lead is building. What he's not going to be building much more is Mahodo's food income. He's running out fast. The boar is going to get denied. That's going to be 5 workers down. There's no easy way to get out of that. He's going to pull the Lancers. It'd be great if he get the 5, but Wham is aware of that and won't give it to him. Nesta Bees, meanwhile, is going to destroy the Chug formation. And walls are going up. Wham's walls are a success. Like, this is the problem now. I think Mahodo now finds himself at a point where the only way he can win is if he can raid. And there is no raid to be had with all these walls going up. It's even multi-layered, for goodness sake. You know, if you get into the one area, you're not going to necessarily reach the inner sanctum. I even crossbow switch up from Wham. Feeling quite confident. Spears. I can get the body block just in time. The Nesta Bees. Not target firing onto the Chug just yet. They're kind of ignoring them. And in a weird way, it kind of looks like it doesn't even matter. No, like the Nesta Bees somehow survive. I mean, that's the clock tower effect for you. The Lancers, I'm just confused. Where are they right now? Like, they're just not here. I'm looking for them, and the numbers don't make sense, and neither does any of this anymore. What? He had, like, was it 10 Lancers left? Yeah, just scattered around the map, not on the main fight. It's going to be a 2-0 for Wham. That means he's through to the quarterfinals.